recording.
No audio recording, please.
No recording. I'm recording with my audio.
Recording of the audios, please.
I've actually been in the office today, so I'm wearing my office clothings.
Oh, you're still in your office things and closing?
Like phone jacker was like practical joke phone calls, prank calls. And face jacker was like he was doing stuff in real life, but he was like dressed up in like masks and like full on like prosthetics and stuff.
Like scaring the shit out of people.
Well, some of it was quite wholesome and hilarious, but some of it was just so problematic. Like
Some of it like was probably give people heart attacks and then they get sued type of thing.
No, like offensive. Like in one of them, for instance, he's dressed like just full on blackface. Like he's
Was he a crow?
Yes, he was a crow, so it was fine. No, he was he was prosthetic up like a large black woman and he was playing a driving instructor, and he was basically like he got these like men to come in the car who wanted to take driving lessons from this woman, and this character that he was playing was basically like sexually harassing the guys that got into his car the entire time, like being really overly like sexual. Like you could not get away with that now, could you?
No.
In blackface as well. I was watching it like, oh my god, you're in blackface and you're basically sexually harassing men right now.
But did it make you laugh?
I don't think it was one of the funniest sketches, to be honest. And also, like, that's always the thing, though. It's like, oh yeah, but what is it funny? Like, yeah, bits of it were, but like at the same time, you don't need to do that to be funny, clearly, because there were like loads of other sketches in that show that were just as hilarious, where he didn't have to do blackface and he didn't have to sexually harass people. So it's like, what's the point that you're trying to make? Like, oh, was it funny? Does it matter?
Speaking of a lovely blackface, hi Naomi.
I was trying to make a really good point there. I was really getting into that there.
Sorry, I just couldn't resist. Keep going, Graham.
Maybe we should start the conversation again, but with Naomi, to get her take.
What are you talking about?
It looks like you haven't got the thing working though.
Yeah, no. Basically, what I think it is. So I'll show you.
Is that you're a cunt? Naomi, start your QuickTime recording so we've got all of this recorded, so I don't have to fanny on cutting stuff out. All right, because now I'm editing the podcast. I'm not taking any more shit.
Now you know the goddamn stresses and why I've got to get everyone in line.
Shut the fuck up. So basically, to connect the webcam to my computer, because I don't have one at HSBC, I got like a HSBC converter. No, HSBC, that's a bank, isn't it?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
This is what we're working with, guys.
So I had to. Don't think Charlie's any better, guys.
Did you not fancy a Barclays converter?
Edited one video. She thinks she's bloody flipping James Cameron. Flipping Steven Spielberg.
I am actually Steven Spielberg. I've been meaning to tell you guys for a while.
I made the best song about masturbating this week.
Did you? Care to share?
It's great. I can send you the demo that I recorded of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't want to do it as like a live.
I'm not gonna actually. I am devising a live set of it because I'm gonna play it live at that conference. So I'm gonna get a live set up for it, but I've not done it yet.
That's bigger than I anticipated. Every minute talking about my tight pants. I got my tight pants on. Have you seen that, Naomi?
No. What was it? Sorry.
It's like an SNL sketch where they're like wearing tight pants and they do a little song about it.
It's a little song about tight pants.
I mean, it's a bit like Little Bald Mouth. I feel like I just really enjoyed it.
I was wearing tight pants today.
Were you?
I never like wearing pants.
No, my vagina doesn't feel pleased with me.
Yeah, my fanny feels like it cannot breathe.
Yeah, my fan is displeased.
I go commando as often as I possibly can, and working from home, that is basically 99% of the time.
Do you commando?
Yeah, I pretty much never wear pants apart from when I'm going out in public.
You must get a lovely brizz.
Lovely brizz.
I find it if I don't wear knickers all day, then by the end of the day I've got sweaty crotch. My vagina prefers a cotton knicker.
Oh, to like absorb.
To chew on all day.
Yeah. Gonna tell me about.
Let's go. Do you remember that show? Like from maybe like 15 years ago called Face Jacker. And I've been rewatching clips on it on YouTube, and I forgot how funny it is, but at the same time, like there's some sketches in it that are really problematic. I don't know if you remember much about it. Like the phone jacker was like he used to do prank calls to people,
Mm.
and then Face Jacker, he was like doing practical sort of jokes on people, but in person.
Mm-hmm.
But like it, for example, in one of them, he was so like some of them were like really wholesome and like not offensive at all. But then there's like this one where he's like in full on like prosthetic like black woman. So basically, he's doing blackface. And he's playing like a driving instructor, and she's getting men to come into a car for a driving lesson, but she's basically like sexually harassing the guy taking the lesson the entire time, like saying really, really appropriate things about like her big boobs and all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you couldn't get away with that nowadays.
Blackface.
All the sexual harassment.
Ever a time? Yeah. Is there ever a time where blackface is appropriate, apart from when you're being a crow for Halloween, as we've already established?
No, I don't think blackface is ever appropriate.
Well, shall we ask the black person here, you racist, jumping in on things you know nothing about? Dear Naomi, is blackface ever appropriate, apart from when you're a crow for Halloween, which we've already established?
Jim Crow.
Jim Crow.
No.
Oh.
No. There's just no need, is there?
That's what I was saying. Like,
There's just no need.
even if you think that sketch was funny, it's like,
I mean, he could have just been a white woman, couldn't he?
yeah,
Why black?
You also don't have to sexually harass someone to be funny either. You can be funny in other ways.
Speak for yourself. That's a joke. I don't sexually.
It's just like, I don't know, like watching those clips back on YouTube, there's so many comments like, oh, you couldn't do that these days. Comedy's been ruined. Everyone's got to be so politically correct nowadays. It's like,
yeah,
like obviously, like we've learned over time that certain things are inappropriate due to certain like reasons, societal reasons that are pretty legitimate. And it at the same time, you can still be fucking funny, and you don't have to do any of those things to be funny. If you do think that you have to do those things to be funny, then that says more about you than it says about comedy. If you're only going to laugh at things that marginalize or harass people, that says more about you, doesn't it?
It's political correctness gone mad.
Yes, that's it.
And as Stuart Lee would say, not that I want to bring Stuart Lee into every episode ever, you can't even write racial slurs and excrement on people's cars anymore. Is political correctness gone mad?
It is. Free speech, baby.
Free speech. Are we gonna do a usual introduction now? Say how we are, and then say we're doing. We say messages to your messages.
Yeah.
We need, proper routines, don't we, ladies? Fucking hell. Right.
From 1333 onwards, I have trouble focusing on what Naomi is saying, given that Charlie and Georgie have kittens. Naomi is at a disadvantage. Laughing, crying emoji.
That's a fair point. I didn't see that one.
Oh, I didn't see that one either. I've been a bit busy the last couple of weeks, though. I only saw them. Is this on the last video?
No, that's from the Lizzo one.
Okay.
Right. On the last one, there was a really lovely comment. This is from somebody who follows me on Instagram. And he is the one who, as soon as the Russell Brand story broke, he was like, "Have you seen this?" And I was like, "No, but I have now." So yeah, it's thanks to him that that I thought we should do this episode.
Oh, well, thank you. our listener, for inspiring this episode.
I think his name is Alessandro.
Oh, that's the one I picked.
Don't call my name. Don't call my name. Alessandro.
Alejandro.
I'm not your babe. I'm not your babe. Yeah, he's a big cat fan.
This is the one that I picked as well. It's
Okay.
one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, he's my friend, not yours. So back off.
No, he loves me.
It's not true.
He does.
I'll get him to put it in writing later.
You're a
Anyway.
cover. You're his beard. Anyway, go on.
I'm his beard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go on then. You read it if you've got it in front of you then.
Yeah. He said, it's like, that's so lovely. This was the best hour and 16 minutes in a long time. The conversating. This place is heaven.
Evan.
But then this next bit I didn't fully understand because he said, and if you see them, they saying what? But then he finished with, brilliant podcast. I can't wait for the next one. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what that could be in reference to any number of things. I'm sure he'll confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alessandro.
Don't call my name. Don't call my name. Alessandro.
What did you guys think of all the political ones? People got quite involved. About their opinions about Starmer.
Yeah, I did. I think I was getting right. Hang on, let me find them.
Which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. Do you know, sometimes if it depends on how I click on our podcast. Incels.
Someone mentioned Keir Starmer choking on Tory balls or something like that.
Oh, look, I've just noticed. I just googled Lucy Letby episode, and it looks like the incels have picked up on it.
Really?
Just a reminder: women murder babies. Cool.
What, under our podcast?
No. Toxic femininity, baby killer pill. Just a reminder: women murder babies. And
Wait, what are you reading from here?
It's just this is not ours. This is just
okay.
I literally I looked up. I was trying to find our Lucy Letby episode, and I just immediately directly underneath it was an incel thing. And then, like, what's in their comments? Women can't be human. Brackets open. They are demonic in nature. Brackets closed.
Well, you're not wrong there, sir.
Didn't you know Foids have 2020 hindsight? Inkwell. Those babies were all probably future misogynists. Wow. God, they just make everything about themselves, don't they? Do you know what I mean?
What?
They're trying to say that this. I don't know. I think they're saying that the babies were future, just killing them because they'd be future misogynists. I mean, there was a mix of boys and girls. It's just fucking weird, isn't it?
They all could have been future Hitlers.
Oh, here we go. At least she waited until they were born. A lot of Foids don't want babies to be born to kill them.
What's a Foid?
It's their word for a female.
Yeah.
It's like a shortened version of, like, I think it's like femaloid. It's like saying that you're an android, basically a female android.
At least she wait. So hold on. He's almost trying to compare Lucy Letby, serial killer of very tiny babies, preferably to women who have abortions. At least she waited until they were born. A lot of Foids don't want babies to be born to kill them.
Actually, far worse, because they can feel pain. But go off, King.
I mean, what the fuck? Fuck. When you get to that level, is there not something in your head that's like, well, I mean, that doesn't make any sense?
It's just the brain rot's just so far deep, and
it's frightening, isn't it?
You can't even save someone like that.
Yeah, I know. Well, I told you, like, that I saw some where they were leaving like really horrible comments about the Roasty Girl anthem, didn't I? And one of them did actually really make me laugh. They were like, I bet the fit one hired the fat one and the black one for diversity.
Oh yeah, hide you. Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful to be a diversity hire. Anything to be on the internet.
She just
anything for my 15 minutes.
My HR department were like, "You're not diverse enough, Mooncat, with all of your employees."
Yeah, that you don't have. You must hire somebody who has, a BMI in the overweight category, and somebody black. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah.
done. Yeah. Absolutely terrible, isn't it? Just outrageous. Just outrageous. And I look well fit in that video, so you can fuck off.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I do. Mate, I'd fuck me in that video.
The image of you with the apple in your tits is burned into my brain for eternity.
Good.
In a good way.
As it should be.
Shall we get on with Russell Brand?
So as I was saying, Alessandro sent me a link. Hi, Alessandro. Nice to see you again.
Alessandro.
Don't call my name. Don't call my... Stop it.
Is it also, Alessandra, do you mind us saying your name like that? It's hard to not say it with an accent. I can't help but go, Alessandro.
Alessandro. Are we saying it with an accent? I thought we were just including it in the song.
Gory just did. Alessandro. I can't. How else are you supposed to say it? I mean,
Gory's not very PC. You know, she's renowned for being a bit. She's very right wing. Yeah. Mhm. She's actually got a UKIP t-shirt. It's just she doesn't wear it. Anyway,
Nigel Farage is a dad.
Nigel Farage is a secret lover. He's the one backing over later.
And dad.
What?
I said he's your secret lover name. He said and dad.
And dad.
Yeah, incest. She's saying that you fucked Nigel Farage. Well, I said you fucked Nigel Farage, and then Naomi made it worse by saying he's your dad. So Gory, we're not going to be able to explain everything in this level of detail if we want to get through the pod.
Just texting daddy now.
Hey, daddy. We discussed this, didn't we? Like, you guys wouldn't say that, would you, daddy? You wouldn't call somebody daddy.
No.
No. And I would.
Have you ever?
No, actually.
Would you like to?
I maybe. I wouldn't rule it out. My friend had a boyfriend and he had a mummy kink.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, and they did like a little mummy role play.
So she would act out being the mother.
It's not his mummy, but just like, you know, a mummy.
What would she do? Like give him a bottle?
Don't know. No.
Toilet roll and like
put him to her breast.
What?
Were you being a literal mummy, Gotteri?
I was talking about a literal Egyptian mummy.
Oh, I did think, what the fuck is this toilet? What has Gory been doing in her private life? But I don't need to know. Did you know, Gory? There is like mummy fetishes.
Like, what, MILFs? Oh, you mean like actual Egyptian mummies?
Well, like in porn, they'll like wrap somebody up that tightly.
Sometimes, like, yeah, I get that, like restriction kind of thing. It's probably kind of horny, isn't it?
Yeah, and like just maybe leave their mouth open, or like their boobs, or maybe just
I can see how that would be hot.
Yeah. Okay. It looks really scary to me.
Oh, does that?
Imagine, well, yeah, because you literally can't move, like
claustrophobic. Yeah,
and you couldn't get out even if you wanted to. I mean, no.
I mean, like if you said your safe word, it would be like spend ages just like cutting you.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd have to like say your safe word about an hour in advance just so they could get you out. No.
Yeah.
So what about being like tied to the bed? Would you guys not like that either? Because
I'd love that.
Oh, okay.
But only with somebody I trusted, like with a trusted partner. My anxiety is such that like if I couldn't do it with, you know, anyone.
No, not someone I don't know.
I've watched too many crime documentaries.
Yeah.
To be fair,
die on these streets.
It's a crime documentary, but it probably has happened, like where someone's like manipulated someone into like a BDSM situation, and then
I think Dennis Nielsen did it, didn't he?
I don't know who that is.
Me neither.
The gay one.
Oh, the gay one. The only one.
Yeah, the gay
the
one.
only gay in the village.
Who is this person?
No, he specifically targeted gay men.
What, is it a murderer you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he like would leave them tied up, like he'd manipulate them into a situation.
I think I remember that.
Well,
yeah,
Dharma
where
was
they
gay as well. But anyway, yeah, go on.
Yeah, but did Dharma tie them up?
Well, they fucked him up.
No, he didn't.
Maybe.
He didn't tie them up. No.
But my point is, there's been more than one gay.
Look, my point is, you don't have a point. Shut your goddamn mouth.
I just proved my point. So you shut
You
your
know
mouth and get
nothing.
off the pod.
Jon Snow.
Fired. My housemate, my old housemate, he
That's me.
is after you. He's gay, and he was telling me that on Grindr, you could sometimes meet men, right? You could like say tie yourself up or however you do that in your house, and then just have someone leave the door open, have someone come in, fuck you, and then leave. You never see each other, you don't meet each other. Just lie there, get fucked, and then off again. Isn't it wild being a man? Like it's just different.
Like a
Yeah.
like a gay man.
I feel
Yeah.
like being a gay man is something, but like the fact that like men can do that is wild. Because as a woman, you just couldn't because you'd be like, oh, I can't just lie here with my legs open because this person could come around and literally
Kill me.
kill me. And the same could happen
Or like
for
impregnate me, or like there's a lot more things to like worry about.
my main fear would be murder.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Reasonable. Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. No, I know
but
what you mean. I know
you
what you
know,
mean.
like
Yeah.
there's a video as well of this like guy being like talking about camping out in the woods by himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it cut to a woman being like, isn't it wild being a man?
And being
And
able
all the
to just
women,
do that. Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like
Like even going for a walk at night on your own.
Yeah.
ugh, the safety.
Doesn't even have to be sexual, just could be going for a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Doing anything at
the
night.
lack of fear.
Yeah.
Doing anything. Yeah. Yeah. That, I mean, it is amazing, isn't it? Like, yeah. Because I have thought about that before. Like, if you were gonna like arrange something, like a sexual liaison with somebody, yeah, I think it's like you couldn't. I wouldn't just want to do anything that was just impromptu without like agreeing
Mm.
beforehand.
Like knowing that there's some sort of like boundaries there.
What the limit is, what like a hard nose.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas
Yeah.
with gay men, it's like you can,
Do anything.
I don't know. I don't want to obviously paint all gay men with a broad brush.
I'm
or
sure
anything.
some women do just throw caution to the fucking wind and do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
But I guess
I
like
wouldn't.
speaking very generally, I think with gay men, there's like a lot less like
Well, yeah.
reservation there. They'll just like sort of meet up with a guy and be like, have a really
Mm.
fucking great time and not really worry as much, I suppose.
Mm.
Yeah. Correct, as if we're wrong.
There's quite a dark side to that as well. My friend showed me this horrendous film.
I saw you told me about it and I watched that as
yeah.
well.
Did you watch it as well?
Yeah, what was it called?
Chemsex.
That's it, yeah. Where they'd like go to parties with it
yeah.
and intentionally try to get HIV positive or
it's like a thing where it's amongst gay men and they throw sex parties basically, and they're called chemsex parties because you take a shitload of drugs, and at some of them people will say there's like a particular phrase that they use, like looking for someone positive or something like that, and like you say, sometimes they'll try and purposefully get HIV, not always, but it's a thing that happens at some of these parties.
Why would you want to get HIV?
I don't know. I don't
maybe,
know.
I don't know. Is it because it's like Russian roulette, risky sex? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like self-harm.
Yeah, it is frightening. To me, it's really frightening. Yeah, I can't get into that mindset.
Yeah.
No, I want a contract sealed and sworn before a solicitor or commissioner of oaths before I'm entertaining any of this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that is dark. That's something else, isn't it? My goodness.
Yeah.
That is self-harm. You're not in a good place if you're doing that to yourself.
No.
You
I
know.
think it's really, really creepy.
Anyway, we were gonna start on Russell Brand.
Oh yeah. Russell
Come on,
Brand.
Charlie, you're doing your intro.
Okay, so I think we probably. I mean, I grew up. All right. Okay, so this episode we're going to talk about Russell Brand and all of the allegations that have recently come out in the media and the news. And they span back, I don't know what, 2 decades. Yeah, because I remember it. I mean, a lot of it I think was around the time it was presenting on Big Brother's Big Mouth, which I remember watching when I was younger. So that's how I was familiar with who he was. And then he obviously went on to marry Katy Perry, didn't he? And I have like views like on that as well that I don't think I would have like got picked up on when I was younger watching it all. But anyway, And he also had radio shows. So he had a radio show on, what was it, BBC Six, and then got promoted to BBC Radio 2 and had a show on there as well, which he would do with different co-hosts. Because there was one notably he did with Jonathan Ross where he got in quite a lot of trouble. Well, I think he actually got fired for that.
I think he stepped down.
Yeah.
I remember.
But then went over to America to break America. And he did. After everything he'd done, he broke America. Fancy that, So what the things that have come out, he had a relationship with this is when he was like in his late 20s, I think. He had a relationship with a 16-year-old.
He was 30.
He was 30, right, a 16-year-old. And initially she said it was consensual, although she was 16. Do you know what I mean?
I guess it technically legally was consensual because she was of age.
And she worked. They met through work, didn't they?
Yeah, because I believe she works in the industry.
Yeah, no, she does now, but she was like, she'd been visiting someone and then she'd been to Topshop. She'd like been visiting someone who worked near him, I think it was, and then she'd been to Topshop. Because you remember in the dispatches thing, he was like, "Where have you been?"
Yeah.
She says Topshop, and she gets a dress. He chooses a dress.
But I think she might have worked in that industry, and that's why she was out in the background. But I do remember, she'd been to Topshop and she got a dress.
Later on, when she said she was still working in the industry, that's when she had a meeting with all of the other people who were pitching a show, and they were trying to get Russell Brand to be the host of the show. And she was on the board, wasn't she? And all of the other people on the board who were trying to pitch this show were like, well, we want Russell Brand to be the host, but we all fucking know that he's a fucking predator. And then they started suggesting not having any women on the crew.
So
we've skipped forward here though. We've skipped to another part.
Yeah,
of
we
the
have
story.
skipped. All right.
No, that's still the same allegate. That's still the same woman.
Well, that is one. I mean, that is one of the allegations that he became so known during his filming career or presenting career in England and with the BBC for being abusive and inappropriate around women that they actually had to have a meeting and discuss that and how they would get around it. And rather than tackle him or, I don't know, hire somebody other than him, the solution suggested and put forward by several people was to just not have any women on set or to not have any women left on their own with him on set. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you get to that point and not be like, well, this isn't okay? So other ones there's other women that have come forward that have been in the industry where he's had consensual sex with them and then gone on to force himself on them. There was a couple like that, wasn't there? And one of them who he then approached later and said, just to be clear, if you're making an allegation of sexual assault, that's a very serious allegation and you'll be hearing from my lawyers. So I don't think she came forward at the time.
Okay, 4 women are alleging sexual assaults between 2006 and 2013. One woman alleges that Brand raped her without a condom against a wall in his Los Angeles home. She says Brand tried to stop her leaving until she told him she was going to the bathroom. She was treated at a rape crisis center on the same day, which the Times says it has confirmed via medical records. And also in the Dispatches documentary, you can see that they also have evidence of a text message that she sent to Brand that said, when a woman says no, it means no. And I think something like, I'm sorry, that was really selfish of me, or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of evidence for that one. A lot.
After watching that, I don't think it was Panorama, I think it was Dispatches, but I was thoroughly convinced after watching that.
So much evidence for that one. So a second woman in the UK alleges that Brand assaulted her when he was in his early 30s, when she was 16 and still at school. She alleges he referred to her as the child during an emotionally abusive and controlling relationship. Looking back, she says he engaged in the behaviors of a groomer. Yep.
Yeah.
And then a third woman claims that Brand sexually assaulted her while she worked with him in Los Angeles. She alleges she repeatedly told Brand to get off her, and when he eventually relented, he flipped and was super angry. She says that he threatened to take legal action if she told anyone else about her allegation.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. And there was somebody outside who heard her.
Yes, heard her screaming, and then he
Yeah.
never said anything.
Until years later when he spoke to her and said, I'm so sorry that I left you in there with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So disturbing.
So the other thing with the 16-year-old was that she's like, she said like he would do like, basically there was a lot of sort of grooming behaviors. So for example, he'd be like, right, go in this bath, I've run you a bath, now stay in it until I get back, and then go out for hours. And then she said when he got back and she was in it and it was really cold, that he was really pleased that she'd stayed in it. And sometimes, yeah, and just weird
The power
controlling
trip,
stuff.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it's God complex stuff, isn't it?
What made me feel
Yeah.
really sick was the you remember the spitting story with the 16-year-old?
Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah, so
sick.
I think one of the things this dispatches program did very well was that it introduced, or it started it off with him doing a joke about basically throat fucking, wasn't it? He was like, I'd never asked for it, but I like it when, and then he basically like yeah, he basically like mimed throat fucking somebody to the point where they're gagging and the mascara is running, and he just kept like did a long joke where he talked about that quite a bit. And then the 16-year-old, after she talked about like the sort of grooming behaviors and then the having consensual sex as part of a relationship, albeit a massive age difference, she said that he just one day was really, really angry, pushed her up against the bed and just basically fucked her face, even when she was like trying to push him off. And then when she had to, I think she said she had to like hit him, or had to like really struggle and hit him to get him off, to get him to stop. He then pinned her down on the bed and basically just spat in her mouth, or like just let spit run in her mouth.
Yeah.
And that is just I mean, it's just a control thing, isn't it? And the thing is as well, like, nobody disputes that he could have had consensual sex with a lot of women.
He could have done, yeah. He had
A
every
lot.
chance to, and he did do that a lot as well.
Yeah, and that was another undercurrent on the program, wasn't it? That you'd have all these young female audience members,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
the runners he'd be asking the runners to go and like give them his number, and then these women, you could just, it was like a theme, they'd go back with him, then they'd be upset, whatever. So even though that wasn't rape and wasn't sexual assault, it was just a general using women.
So clearly like enjoyed control if he was doing that, because like he didn't have to tell those women that he was like in love with them and he was gonna he didn't
there was
have
that
to. He was famous. They would have probably fucked him anyway, even if they
Yeah.
thought it was only going to be one night. The fact that he was doing all of that, like, it's just such a red flag that makes you think like he definitely enjoyed like the manipulation and the power, because he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to do it to get laid, but he did it anyway.
Yeah, but also just that smashing through women night after night after night after night, with no care for what you tell them to get them into bed, how you make them feel, etc. Like, it's just this massive disrespect towards women. They're not people, are they? They're not your equal, and they're not people. They're just something to use for your benefit. And I just think that was absolutely disgusting and should not have been allowed. I mean, it was even mentioned that it was written into his contract at some point that he wouldn't sleep with the people that he worked with.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah, like it was that much of a problem that it was written in his contract that he had to sign. Like,
and I think he's denying that now. But yeah.
And I denied it as well, didn't they?
Oh, I mean, it's like they say, like,
manager.
When everybody's like, yeah, well, he's denying it. Well, I mean, they all do, don't they? The rapists, they don't really admit it as a rule.
Do you know what I found really interesting? Right, so when these allegations came out, and did you watch the video that he put on his Instagram, where, because Russell Brand appeals massively to conspiracy theorists, and he's called this a conspiracy theory. And if you look, it's like wild gaslighting, I feel so much for the women that have come forward as well, to see him respond like that, and also to see how his fans are responding.
Yeah. And
I-
the general public at large.
I tell you what's really surprised me is the amount of women that are like, Russell, like in his comments,
Yeah.
like, Russell, it's the media that's coming for you. You keep on going. You don't let them take you down. You're like Icarus. You flew too close to the sun. And most of the time,
Fucking
honestly,
hell.
and most of the time, there's no mention of these women.
Yeah.
It's just, they're coming for you, Russell. Poor you, Russell. We're here with you. Like, as if the victims don't even, I don't know, just don't even come into the equation. And when they do come into the equation, people are asking, well, it's quite strange that they went to the media and not the police.
And
Isn't it?
why didn't they report it sooner? It's just like
Yeah.
typical myths and stereotypes about rape victims. Why do we always look at the behavior of the victim? Well, why didn't they do this and why didn't they do that?
Like, there's a
When are
proper way
when
to
are
do
you
it.
going to start looking at his behavior? Because it's clearly abhorrent.
But it's also like, you've got to point out why people don't come out for years, because I
Yeah, we
think
do.
a lot of people don't realize, like, you've got to sort of say, you like, if you're just one single person coming out against a really powerful man,
Yeah.
it's going to come for you. It's not going to work. What you have to do if you're a victim of a powerful, famous man is you do have to wait for a few other people to say that they've got the same experience.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just don't have any leverage in the situation. It's, unfortunately, like, you just don't. That's the
Well, because he immediately went after that woman that he worked with to tell her, I'll be in touch with my lawyers. And do you know what I think? And this made me think back to the Depp Heard thing. And I will tell you for why in a minute. And it makes me so fucking angry. Yeah. Look at the way that Catherine Ryan has dealt with it. So Georgie told me this. There's because Catherine Ryan, famous Canadian comedian, very successful in England, very outspoken, amazing, love her. Right. She has done an interview with Louis Theroux, didn't she? Louis Theroux, British documentary maker, also very famous, possibly not in America, I don't know.
Oh no, he's very famous in America. They all know him.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So he did an interview with her where she alludes to there being a very famous male comedian who is just, sexually assaults people and is a known predator. But she wouldn't name him. And even she said, even doing that, even her, of her power and her position, etc.
The full story. She was on a comedy show where she was booked with Russell Brand, and the whole premise was to roast the other comedians on that show, and she was booked to roast Russell Brand, and what she did was call him a predator to his face on that show where she was roasting other comedians. Like, she just made loads of jokes about him being a predator, and the producers out. That's what she did.
How do you know? Can you still see that footage?
Kill to see that set. I would kill to see that set.
How do you know that footage exists?
Because she
said that
she talks about it.
Okay.
She doesn't name him. But this is what I mean. Even she doesn't name him. Even she is being very careful. It's very famous. It has a massive, massive following of her own. Even she won't come out and name him. Because as she puts it, it's too litigious. She'll get sued.
So yeah,
and she doesn't want to lose work. She doesn't want to not be able to pay a mortgage. She doesn't want to be able to look after her family. If that's the position that she's being put in.
Well,
no, this is what she's saying. No, but the thing is, she doesn't want it. She's been really, really clear. I listened to her most.
Her a lot of stress. I think financially she'd be fine. She's rich as fuck, but I think it would cause her a lot of stress to be sued.
She might be rich as fuck, but she'll have a house that's fit that she can afford based on the work that she does now, that she knows she could lose if she speaks out. There's the reason she's not done it.
Yeah. It will cause her a lot of stress as well. Like, she's
a lot of stress.
She's got kids and whatever.
The mob will come with it, and she's not even like, she's been very clear. Nothing happened to her. She just knows about it. She knows that it's come from credible sources, and
so he was part of the reason that her and Sarah Pascoe set up this like sort of union of like female comedians. So they all basically this union of female comedians are basically sort of exchange information, I think, about male comedians in the industry, and sort of
And
warn each other
managers to
against,
avoid.
managers and other comedians, like they warn each other against who to not work with, basically, because that's how bad
What the
that's how
fuck?
bad the problem is.
Can
They
you
have to settle
imagine?
this thing.
Can you imagine men having to deal with that?
It's unreal. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
It drives me absolutely fucking mad. Right. So, do you remember when we spoke about the?
Sorry,
Do you remember?
it was 21st of September yesterday, so that song is just going around in my head.
Okay, good for you, honey. Do you remember when we spoke about the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case? Yeah. And a lot of people are up in like not happy with me for my position on it. I mean, not a lot of your followers, Gory, but there were the odd few that were like, well, supporting Amber Heard, blah, blah, blah. But if you can remember, the main point I made was the criminal law, yeah, for sexual abuse and domestic abuse, but mainly sexual abuse and sexual assault, it's such a high threshold to me. Yeah, you've got to prove something happened beyond all reasonable doubt. How often is that doable when it's two people alone? He said, she said, especially when you've got all of these rape myths and stereotypes that we see all the time. Why didn't they report it sooner? They'd slept together before. Look what she was wearing, blah, 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 all this stuff. They'd always focus on the victim's behavior. They don't ever focus on the perpetrators. So that's your criminal law position, yeah? It's not ideal. It's improving. They are making improvements, but it is a very high threshold to meet. Fine. That's the way it is, and it's set up in that way to protect people from being wrongly convicted, innocent until proven guilty. It just so happens that most victims, not all victims, are women, and most perpetrators, not all perpetrators, are men. So you've got a public policy statute, legal threshold, yeah, that massively in criminal law favors the perpetrator, protecting the perpetrator being wrongly convicted over victims getting justice. So we move to things like the Me Too movement, speaking out, yeah, a way of readdressing that balance. Women can speak out. And then you had the Johnny Depp case where Amber Heard spoke out. Now, I'm not saying she was the perfect victim, but you shouldn't have to be the perfect victim to be able to speak out. She spoke out. A high court judge in our country made 12 findings against Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I
Including-
tried saying that before, and people will be like, "Oh yeah, but that Georgie was biased because blah 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 blah."
Yeah. Well, what about the jury? Juries are far more susceptible to the techniques used by, expensive barristers. But I mean, that's the thing is, if Johnny Depp had wanted to say on his massive platform, and he does have a massive platform, what she's saying isn't true. This is my experience. This is what happened to me. Blah, blah, blah. Two sides to every story. Fine. But if you, as a victim who has a high court judgment in your favor, can then get sued, that is really, really powerful in terms of silencing victims, which is exactly why even women like Catherine Ryan, who it's not even about her, but she doesn't even feel that she can speak out about it without fear that she's going to get sued. And look at this woman that's come immediately. It didn't even go through with it, but he just tried to straight away. Sexual assault is very serious. I'll be getting my lawyers involved. Do you know what I mean? And it shouldn't be allowed to happen in the workplace. It's career ruining stuff. Speaking out, that's career ruining stuff. Somebody with that sway is just not good. No.
Do you think that what's happening to him right now is not okay, in that people are saying a trial by media is happening?
Well,
The evidence has been corroborated by multiple journalists from different outlets.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like like even if it was all a massive lie and conspiracy, how could they have made up all of that evidence? And what for? Like, do they want money? Doesn't seem so. Do they want clout? Well, they're all anonymous. So like, what are they trying to get out of it if they're making it all
Why
up?
would they want to ruin him? He's stepped away from working with most mainstream media, hasn't he? Doesn't he just do stuff on his own now?
Doesn't even like he probably doesn't even collaborate with many women anymore anyway. Like I don't think so. Like he doesn't really do films anymore, does he? He doesn't do TV.
Well, what people are saying, like trial by media, is that if it does go to trial, it won't be a fair one because the story has been talked about so much in the media that whoever the jurors are, they're gonna have an idea or an opinion about him anyway. And people are saying that's not right.
A bit like the Johnny Depp trial.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have happened anyway. Like,
yeah, I bet the people who were on the Russell side weren't saying that about the Depp and Heard trial. You know, not that I'm cynical, but you know, just a feeling, just a hunch.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with the concerns about trial by media, but not in this case, because anybody who does the most basic amount of research can see that there are really, really concerning things here. Even in his absolute outward behavior. I mean, it reminded me of when I was younger and speaking to my mum, and we went on to this was when he worked on Radio 2, and him and Jonathan Ross got carried away and were like ringing the granddad of somebody he'd slept with and on air and just saying horrible, vile sexual things about her to her granddad.
The granddad was a famous guy, right? He was
from 40 Towers.
It's like, I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what eventually made them step down, or made Brand step down from Radio 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So at that point something happened, but it was acknowledged that, I mean, it's just
the interview with Jimmy Savile as well is so disturbing. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So he
like Russell Brand basically offers up his assistant naked to Jimmy Savile. Like Jimmy Savile's like, "Oh, Russell, do you have any sisters?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't have any sisters, but I have this assistant. You can have her.
She's very good looking.
Like, she's naked. You can have her naked if you want." Like,
yeah,
it's supposed to be a joke.
So it's not. It's just absolute utter contempt and disrespect for women. How
that. I honestly don't think that would fly at all today. Like,
no, I don't either.
Which I'm glad about. Yeah,
I'm happy about it. Thank God for being being woke and politically correct.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to. It's like what I was saying before. You don't need to say things like that to be funny. And I do think Russell Brand was capable of being funny. Like I thought he was funny sometimes when he wasn't doing shit like that. He wasn't.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I bought his book, my bookie book.
Yeah. He was capable of being pretty fun. Like I honestly think he is talented, but he's also just a very flawed human being.
Well, he's a narcissist as well. He's very self-obsessed.
I
mean, I like some of the political points and political commentary that he's made, but he's now like doing interviews and stuff with Ben Shapiro, isn't he? Isn't he like swung the other way? I don't know. He's a
like
weird
a cult,
mix.
like, following now. Like,
yeah,
it's like a cult.
Political stance has been weird. Like he originally said he wasn't going to vote, and then he said the first time he ever voted, he voted for Jeremy Corbyn. I don't know who he voted for after him, if anyone, but then since then he's just gone full on like conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat kind of shit, like promoting ivermectin and stuff. And yeah, it seems pretty right wing, but he I don't know, it's kind
does
of
seem right wing
like,
now,
sort
doesn't
of
he?
left wing persona kind of thing, because he's like, oh, I want to help the disenfranchised people of society. But like a lot of right wing people do manage to put that.
Well, yeah, look at old Jimmy.
Yeah, to put that like message across while being right wing. So it's like, it's like you can say you want to help the poor, but like a lot of right wing people like put across this sort of facade of wanting to help the poor by like donating to them via charities and stuff like that and setting up foundations. But when you actually look at whole structure that they say that they want to help the poor under, it's a structure which retains all the power with the rich people, i.e. giving, like, allowing the rich people to keep all of the money, but donating it to the poor via foundations that they've set up or via charities that they choose to donate to, or like whatever. It's like, that's not real leftism. That's you retaining all of the power and giving your money to whoever you think it should go to. That's not real leftism. That's just like, I'm super rich and I'm gonna give you.
That's narcissism.
I feel like that's Russell Brand's energy as well. The way that I find it so hypocritical, the way that he's like, fuck the establishment. Meanwhile, he's made millions off the back of the establishment.
Yeah. And he's actually like
he's so rich.
He's put his name to charities and organizations, particularly around supporting women, which is ironic given his absolutely terrible behavior.
Well, now when like knowing what we know or allegedly know, it makes me think, is that a guilty conscience? Is that what that is?
Or is it just, a strategy around his image? Either way, it's fucking frightening.
Well, he knew that he'd raped people, and then he did that.
He must have known that this would come out at some point.
I don't think so, I don't, because like when you watch the Dispatches, what's so incredible is the way that there were just no consequences along the way.
Yeah,
like
true.
He got, like he fucked up and then he'd get sent to rehab because of his addictions, and then he'd fuck up and then rape someone, but then nothing would come of that, and he would act inappropriately with people at work and maybe they'd complain, but nothing would come of that, and then he'd get promoted. And then he was not at work in England, so he moved to America and became more famous than ever. There were just no consequences.
Some of the things that he did on camera, I was so shocked at. Some of the clips that, like, some of these compilations that have come out, like, of him just like interacting with female co-hosts,
like smooching that woman on the
lips. The woman that he literally just kisses and then is like, oh, I could just take your bra off right now if I wanted to. Like, on fucking camera. That's insane.
Yeah,
it's a different time, wasn't it? It's so interesting to see how it's changed.
Yeah, and on a show with interviewing Vanessa Feltz, straight away asking her, could I have sex with you or one of your daughters? They're of age.
Yeah.
Fucking grim. Where is your respect for women?
But also, like, when you see, like, when he's making those jokes at the time, in fairness, everyone's laughing along. It really was,
wasn't it? Like, oh, he's so sexually open and that's new, like, because no one's really been so sexually open before, but it's like, at the same time we weren't realizing that he was taking it way too far.
Exactly. And also at the time it kind of was hot, because it was like his whole thing was like, even though we know that's not the case now, but he would make a point of like celebrating women and like female sexual energy, and like, okay, yeah, that's hot, love that. But like that allowed him to go further
like
than
James
was
Dean.
acceptable behind the scenes.
A bit of a perception of him like James Dean as a supporter of women. It's almost comparable, isn't it? In that Russell Brand could have had sex with so many women, pretty much mostly had his pick, but he still, when somebody said no, he still had to push them. He had to push them to get past that point, which is this, like, James Dean, a porn star,
people that don't know,
porn star, but really, really had a really strong female following. Somehow got himself a reputation for being very pro-female and knowing how to meet a woman's needs. So he could have absolutely had his pick. He worked in BDSM type kink porn a lot, rough sex, where safe words are so important. He's in a relationship with another porn star and he just ignores safe words.
That's what came out.
This guy is having all the sex he wants and pushing it as going to the absolute edge, but that wasn't enough. He had to keep going. He had to push it further.
And then other women
wonder
came
whether he
forward
also-
about James Dean as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Makes you
Yeah.
wonder whether he also had some sort of like sex addiction problem.
Who
Or is
James
it,
Dean
is
said.
it
Mm.
Oh, really?
is
I
it-
didn't know
No,
that.
actually, it makes me wonder whether he also had that kind of problem.
Okay.
Russell
I
Brand
don't know that it's sex addiction. I think it's
That's not. I don't think that's sex addiction.
I think it's power. It's power, isn't it? It's control and it's power.
Yeah.
Because it's not that, if you've got sex addiction, well, these are men who are in privileged positions where they could have gone and got sex every day of the week
But-
with any number of women who would do any number of things with them, but they had to push the women who didn't want it past the point of no. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Why?
do you think that Russell Brand truly had sex addiction problem then, or do you think it was just a power thing that he had a problem with?
I think both things can be true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I think he.
Let's talk about Katy Perry. Did you see like
Yeah.
what she said about him?
No.
She's not spoken on this specifically, but
Not
No,
since.
but she did an interview a while ago where basically she kind of like hinted at why they divorced. She basically said that I think he joined her on tour and he wasn't very happy that basically she was the person in charge on her tour.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. And also when she said that when they divorced, she blamed it on herself basically, but now looking back on it, she realized that a lot of things weren't her fault, but she wasn't gonna elaborate on that. I'm guessing because she didn't want to get sued and deal with all of the backlash for it. Yeah, that's basically all that she said. It was kind of like sounds like it was a pretty abusive relationship basically.
Well, I can remember. Yeah, I bet he would have hated that she was
more famous than him.
I do wonder if marrying her was part of a strategy to break America or to increase his notoriety in America. Who knows? And she would have been a challenge. She comes from quite a religious background, doesn't she, with quite proper parents, and I think that they were quite unhappy with her being with him. So I do wonder if that was part of it as well. But I think I remember, like, at the time, one of the things he said was that the reason he'd left her was because he realized that he'd married or what she represented was a lot of the things that he didn't like. Which I know what you're saying, like mainstream capital. I'm not sure.
It's probably just that she was more famous than him.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I think by the sounds of like the way I can remember her on an interview years and years ago, where she was talking about how clever he was and whatever, and I feel like he probably just. I don't think he's more clever than her. I think he probably just.
I honestly
you know what I mean? Like
good at coming across clever when he's actually because
I think he's clever.
I think he uses all of these really.
I think he weaponizes it.
Yes, I think he's clever, but I think he's very like. She's clever, but I think I think he's would be very good at making her doubt herself or making it. I think it seemed like he was the smart one.
I always thought he sort of used a lot of like huge, like big, ridiculously big words, and like had this ridiculously big vocabulary to make it sound like he was more clever than he actually is. Because like when you actually listen for a long time to him, he's using big words where he could just use normal words. Like he doesn't have to use the ridiculous words. And also if you listen to him for long enough, he's just using all of the same big words. Like he didn't actually memorize that many big words. It's always the same ones. I think
Russell Brand, little book of big words.
I think he's just like very good at making the people who listen to him feel like they're intelligent for listening to him. I think he's good at being manipulative in that way. I think he's manipulative in a lot of different ways, and especially when like as soon as the allegations came out, he knew exactly how to like manipulate his audience. It's like that should have been that. Well, that's the biggest red flag, isn't it? Like all of these women are accusing you of being manipulative towards you, and the first thing you do is manipulate your audience. Like that's a huge red flag. You're just basically saying, yeah, I'm the guy that all of these women are saying that I am.
But do you think that he could have seen that the tides were turning and that and predict that this all may come out and distance himself from the mainstream
That is a
media.
theory that I've heard as well.
Yeah.
That is a theory that he intentionally did all of this like, yeah, anti-mainstream media stuff because he knew at one point that all of this shit was going to come out, and now he's just deployed his get out of jail free card. He's like, oh well, they're trying to silence me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be some foresight, though. No, I mean, he's not.
I
He's
don't
been.
think so. I
Oh
mean,
no,
look
like
I don't think.
look at how well, look at how many cases are coming out now. The
Mm.
tide
Me
is
Too.
turning.
Me Too happened in 2018.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
2018, that's when he's really flipped into the conspiracy stuff. Like it could have been a plan. It could have been a plan that he had.
Not even a plan,
time.
but maybe just something in his subconscious, you know. This is a risk. I think if I'd been in his position, I could have strategized that.
Mm.
I mean,
You do think highly of yourself, Charlie, don't you?
It is a lot of foresight, but to be honest, like if you were that manipulative and you were that much of a, sociopath,
Such a
like why
cunt,
would you not
Naomi.
do that?
I don't think it's that much foresight.
Yeah.
And people are very quick to attribute victims a level of foresight. You know what I mean? You got victims come to trial and they've disclosed it to different people among the years, and when they've really struggled to talk about it, but along the way they've gotten, they've been drinking and they've disclosed to somebody, or they've been in a certain, you know what I mean? And then you get to trial, and very quickly people will be jumping to say, well, they've disclosed to those 7 different people along the last 14 years. Clearly, it was constructed in a bid to, provide evidence for these malicious allegations.
Mm.
Have you
Maybe.
seen government committee has been writing to do you know about the platform Rumble?
No.
Rumble. No.
That's this sort of alternative streaming platform that Russell has moved towards because he's apparently being silenced
What, is he still on there now?
on YouTube or on Rumble. He's
Rumble.
on both, but he says that he's being silenced from talking about certain things on
He's
YouTube.
been demonetized on YouTube, hasn't he?
He's been demonetized. He's been taken off the partner program or whatever you call it when you get monetized on YouTube.
Welcome to our world, Russell.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
He's
so you know
really
what it's
been
like to be the
demonetised.
roaster girls.
Yeah, he's not really been silenced, though, has he? I mean, he's managed to say quite a fair bit about all of this. But if he was
Exactly.
silent,
He's not
he wouldn't
being-
have been able to, would he?
It's a marketing tactic for the right wing to just keep
Yeah.
on constantly saying that they're being censored while saying that shit on the the biggest platforms ever and getting millions and millions of views and being bankrolled by billionaires.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But yeah, no, he started streaming on Rumble because he said he was being censored on YouTube, and this government committee, I believe they wrote to Rumble and they were like, are you like they basically, this government committee want to make sure that he's not being paid right now, because I think basically they're concerned that he's now making money out of this whole sort of drama that's come up about him being a predator. And I think because the allegations are pretty like based in evidence, I think what this committee is saying is like, as a media company, you should probably not be allowing him to be making money right now, because he is literally making money out of allegations of him committing crimes, is what this committee is trying to say. But like people on GB News and like right-wing people are like, this is censorship. You shouldn't be taking away his money. He should be able to be making money out of saying he's not a rapist and this is all a conspiracy. It all just comes down to ridiculous like free speech debate. But it's like all they're doing is saying maybe he shouldn't be making money out of defending himself against
For being a rapist.
which I don't think you should be able to. I don't think you should be able to like monetize that.
Proceeds of Crime Act, although he's not found guilty. Yeah, I do hope that there's a trial. And also this whole trial by media thing, I don't know that it is true, because I mean I'm sure that there is correlation. But especially in America. But the Kevin Spacey trial in England, he was acquitted, wasn't he?
Kevin Spacey. I can't
Oh,
remember.
that's true.
He was acquitted in the end.
Yeah, in England. Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
Our defamation laws are like pretty stringent, aren't they? Do you know much about
Defamation.
yeah,
What do you
defamation
mean?
laws in the UK? Like it's
Defamation
really
as in like you say things about people and if it's not true,
yeah.
they sue you.
Do you like know much about defamation laws in the UK?
I'm not sure if you I mean, are you talking about how that could impact a trial? Because we've got rules about what can and cannot be published in the media in relation to criminal trials. Like the court can be ordered the court can order that journalists don't publish certain things. That doesn't happen often. It's like, so for example, it happened in the Lucy Letby case because it was such a one-off case. So like they've removed a lot of the babies' names, so they're just baby A, baby whatever. They removed the parents' names from the media, and they removed, I think, some of the doctors' names, consultants from the media as well. But that isn't the standard.
So I'm talking about like before it goes to trial, like
Yeah.
like these Russell Brand allegations. Like, don't our media companies like have to adhere to quite strict defamation?
Oh, before they can release. Okay.
That I'm not sure what the laws are exactly, but I feel like they're more stringent than in the US to be able to say stuff like that. Like you have to be pretty fucking sure, basically. Before
I mean, I don't know about that because I mean the media's known for lying about people all the time, isn't it?
Saying ridiculous shit.
yeah, but
I
like
don't know. They have
there's
to have a
difference
source,
between,
don't
like,
they?
actual criminal allegations and just saying
Uh,
someone did a thing, you know. So
All you have to do is pop the word alleged in front, and then you can do what you want, can't you? Allegedly, the alleged rapist. Yeah, I don't know.
And the source could literally be someone just calling up and say, I've got information on so and so, and they can say our sources tell us.
I don't know the ins and
Weekly
outs of
sources.
it when it's not actually in, because I mean, I do believe I've read that since this has all come out, somebody has made a report to the CPS, and if they are prosecuted in England, then it would be the CPS. So I'd be really interested to see what happens
with the 16-year-old.
Well, with any of them that where they were English and it happened in England.
You're saying there's someone someone new has come forward and gone to
Somebody new, yeah. I think somebody that wasn't in on the
Well,
but obviously they're not going to name them.
Yeah, I don't think they were all British, were they?
No.
But the 16-year-old was.
Yeah.
I can't remember which other ones were, but yeah.
The
first one
I can't remember. No, there was definitely a couple of Americans, isn't there? But that's another thing that's standard in England. They don't print victims' names.
Yeah,
and sometimes the defense can argue that they don't print the defendant's name on the basis that if the defendant's name was printed, you'd immediately know who the victim was. But but victims of sexual abuse, they don't print their names, nor do they print children's names.
Yeah, it's good.
Apart from, a special set, like really exceptional cases, like the Bulger case.
I'm still a bit unsure how I feel about the whole trial by media thing. Like, I do believe that he's done these crimes, but I actually don't know how I feel about. I don't know. Well, I guess it's not even a trial yet, is it? It's not even in court.
No.
My thinking is like,
it's not been charged. There's nothing criminal yet, nothing at all. Nothing, it's only just been reported. If it and even then, who knows? It might only be reported by one person. If it's been reported, there'll be no charging decision yet. They'd have to do a full evidential test to decide whether to prosecute or not, and that could take a long time to gather evidence, etc., to see if other people come forward. So no, there's no criminal prosecution at present.
So I guess my thinking was like, when something is going through a court or someone is going to trial, I don't know that I think details should be released before a decision's reached. But at this point, this isn't even that, is it? So there's nothing to stop anyone.
No.
We're just reporting on allegations.
Yeah, that people have made, but they've not, unless there is a complainant who's made that complaint. Sorry, I'm just keep seeing my massive meaty fist going, but I'm just can't stop myself. Unless there's the complainant, it's very rare that the Crown prosecution will pursue a prosecution without a complainant. So until somebody actually, I mean, they do sometimes, but it's rare. So until somebody actually goes to the police and says, not only do they want to report it to the police, but they want to go through with the prosecution. Because can you imagine? They're going to have to go through a trial then.
The Met Police have been asked if they are investigating, and they haven't reported whether they are or not. Interesting.
I hope it does go through. I hope it does go through a trial.
Me too.
Was it a bit on here on the BBC thing? Have the police responded? In the wake of allegations made against Brand, the Metropolitan Police said on Monday it had received a report of an alleged sexual assault in Soho, central London in 2003. That's an extra one, wasn't it? The Met said officers
I think that's a new one.
were in contact with the woman and providing support to her, adding, "We continue to encourage anyone who believes they have been a victim of a sexual offence, no matter how long ago it was, to contact us." Also, Channel 4 have set up an investigation as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So they should. How long did they foster him for?
Yeah.
I do feel like we're on the cusp of another sort of maybe mini Me Too movement, or an even bigger Me Too movement, maybe.
But it's like as soon as you speak out about this stuff, you get like the hate from the other side just come back. So
well, yeah. So I believe that's why the manosphere got so big, to be honest, because of the Me Too movement. Like there had to be a backlash, and now there's another backlash against the manosphere, I guess, and all of the Andrew Tate shit that's going on. It's just a back and forth, isn't it?
I think like what's interesting is like, so we saw this with Jimmy Savile and the fact that there were so many people behind the scenes who allowed it to happen and silenced it. But really, I mean, obviously he died, so nothing happened to him. But other people should have been held accountable for the fact that he was allowed to be a paedophile in plain sight for such a long time. Now, if these allegations about Russell Brand turn out to be true, then it will be him that goes down. And yet Channel 4, the BBC, whoever else allowed this behavior to carry on for such a long time, I don't think anything will happen to them. So I feel like a follow on from the Me Too movement that we've seen needs to be, or like what we saw with Harvey Weinstein as well, like him being taken down. We need to be looking at, okay, who's allowed this to happen? Who's been fostering this environment for such a long time? Because nothing seems to happen to those people, and that's not okay either. Like those people should also be afraid right now.
Yeah, it just reminded me of when I went to see Frankie Boyle. And he did a Harvey Weinstein joke. It made me really laugh.
When did you go see him? I went to see him on the show.
Yeah, it was a while back. I went in with my some Nottingham friends.
Frankie Boyle.
Frankie, he did it. Yeah, what did he say? He was like, he basically joked that Harvey Weinstein had, his defense was that it had been consensual, and he was like, the jury members just took one look at him and was like,
apparently he had like a disease that made his like dick look like it was like deformed as well. Like he wasn't just an ugly guy, he had an extremely ugly dick as well.
Well, great.
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
like a deformed penis.
Yeah,
we sound like such a gossip podcast. I hear he had an ugly dick too.
Do you know?
I should go soon, by the way.
You're not going ever.
What were you gonna say?
Just as a final thing, like I keep getting like some incels, like incel-ish stuff coming up on some of my Instagrams.
Do you?
Like, why are they targeting me? Like I'm
oh
not
my
your,
God,
I'm not
what are
your
you
target
getting?
audience. So there's one the other day, and I was listening to it. What was he saying? It was a guy. He was like, statistically, we know how strong a man's sexual drive is, but 50% of men are no longer pursuing relationships. And like I was in my head, I was like, why? And then I like looked at the comments and I was like, oh, this is an incel.
Incel.
Yeah. He was like, it's feminism.
Made up all of the statistics that we're using.
Yeah.
Wild statistics.
I know.
Yep.
50% of men are not pursuing relationships. 90% of men are not pursuing relationships in my experience. They are mostly pursuing getting their dick in your fanny. I'm way up and go for Prime Minister. Some of the sound bites they could get off this.
Oh, amazing. You would be voted in immediately. Look at Donald Trump grabbing people
Yeah,
by
true.
the
Yeah,
That's
you'd be
true.
the
Right.
president.
No,
You'd be
you're
the
only
first
allowed to
female
do that.
president.
You're
You're
only
allowed
allowed to
to
do
Donald
that
Trump.
if you're on the right.
Just join right then.
Just grab 'em by the pussy.
Grab by the, I grab by the dick.
I just grab 'em by the
For your
dick.
phrase, I just grab by the dick. Oh, girls will be girls.
Cool. Yeah. Give me that dick. I don't know why I've got that voice. Give me that dick. Give me that dick. Give me that dick.
Girls will be girls. You know, it's just locker room talk.
I think I get that voice. I think I copy that voice from you, Naomi.
Mm.
And then do you remember when we were younger
Mhm.
and it really made me laugh? And I was like, oh, why do I always do that voice? And you were like, it's because you're a racist. Give me that dick.
Give me that dick.
Dick.
Yes, son.
Yes,
Just
sir.
very satisfying twice.
Bring
today.
that dick over here.
Right.
Does that
We
make
have
me a racist?
Mm?
Does that make me a racist doing that?
Yes, it does.
Oh, dear me.
Yes, it
I
does.
better stop then. I'm still
But I
doing it.
can't. I
Where's
won't.
that dick?
You're always trying to get dick down in Leeds Town.
I'm trying to get a
baby.
podcast out, baby. I'm trying
Trying
to
to get a podcast out and a dick in.
Not necessarily in that order. Bye, guys.
All right, darlings. Bye-bye. Nice to see you.
Thanks. Bye. 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 Bye.